Hello, my loves, and welcome to another energy update. We're going to be focusing today on the equinox. If you are in the northern hemisphere, it is the spring equinox, and that is the energy that we are going to be focused upon today. Something that the guides have always said is that the equinoxes and the solstices are the most potent energy that we will experience, more so than eclipses, full moons, these portal alignments that us humans have given so much meaning to, like 555 portal or the 222 portal, because we have to remember that we never used to go by a 12-month calendar. Things have kind of been out of sorts for a very long time when it comes to the way that we measure time, and that's what time is used for, right? It's not real. It's a construct that we put in place for the means of measurement. But originally, we had a 13-month, equally distributed 28 days system that allowed us to experience things more in alignment to nature. So the equinox energy is a 0 point. It is a reset. It is a death and rebirth. It is also the new year. Pisces being the end of the zodiac and Aries being the beginning of the zodiac. This is an important shift for us, and we can see that everything is beginning to find that 0 point, find that fresh new energy, that new beginning. And we can feel all the things that are coming up for us to be cleansed, to be released, to be transformed, to change direction. And that's a lot of what the equinox is about. It is the balance of the light and dark. It is finding the balance within us. For me, it feels more like finding our peace, finding our truth, finding our authenticity, finding ourselves. This equinox is more potent and more intense than previous ones because it is sandwiched between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. It doesn't always fall this way, but it has this year, which is no surprise because this year has some insane astrological alignments that we haven't seen since the 17 and 1800s. And so it's nothing that any of us that are alive have ever experienced. There's no context for us other than looking at history because we do know at some level it is going to repeat itself. I mean, even if you look at the great floods and we look at what happened in Florida and Georgia and North Carolina and parts of Tennessee, that in a form is another great flood. It just wasn't done at the size and extent as the great flood that we know about from history. But everything does repeat, and hopefully we learn from history and we're able to evolve our consciousness and our society to make different choices so that when these cycles come back around, they're not played out in the same devastating way that they were previously. So let's talk about some of the themes that are coming up with the equinox energy. And a lot of these themes are similar to the themes of the whole March energy update, but I really wanted to give the equinox its own space. And I invite you to contemplate on the day of the equinox some themes and some things that are coming up for you. Because as I mentioned in the March energy update, March really is about us looking at these old patterns, these old beliefs, these old habits and behaviors. And a lot of that may have come up over the last 6 months. Again, the lunar eclipse was seeded with the new moon in Virgo in September, and then we had an eclipse in September. And so between then and now, in the last eclipse we just had, you may have experienced some old habits, some old themes. old patterns, old beliefs showing themselves to you as a way for you to choose if that's who you are still, or if you've learned enough from those patterns to finally choose to stop reinforcing them, because that's the key. And I know it sounds simplistic. I remember the first time I heard that, I thought, oh, that's overly simplistic. But I think we overcomplicate things as humans. So why can't we just allow things to be simplistic? And so if you don't know what I'm speaking of, it's the fact that once you become aware of a pattern, a belief, or a habit, you are no longer bound by it. You are now outside of it and are now given the opportunity and the choice to either choose differently or reinforce it, right? It's like reinfecting, it's like cleansing the computer of a virus and then going to the same website that infected it in the first place and having to do it all over again. How many times do we as humans do that? And oftentimes it's unconscious. But again, once you become aware of it, now it's a conscious choice to reinforce it or to choose differently in every moment. And this is why it's called the work, because it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Some of the themes that are coming up collectively are the abandonment wound, inner child wounds. I know for me, that was definitely the case. And oftentimes we kind of have to allow those aspects of us to kind of take over us and let a situation or scenario play out. Because maybe this time when we play it out, we'll see something that we couldn't see before that will help us reconcile it to the point to where we understand why we chose that belief, why it was serving us to begin with. And that's a question that I want to put in right here and ask that you write down, because whatever you're creating in your reality, it is serving you, whether you believe so or not. We don't always have to enjoy the experience, but it is happening for a reason, and there's always wisdom to be obtained so that we can continue our evolution. So here's the question. How is creating this serving me? So whatever you have created in your reality, whether it's good or bad, and oftentimes we don't ask when it's good, which is very surprising to me, but we don't. But whatever's happening in your reality, ask yourself, how is creating this serving me? And you may not get an answer right away, but the fact that you are stepping into inquiry and curiosity is going to really open some doors for you. And like I said, it may not come right away, but maybe a few days after that information is going to be accessible to you. And again, we can't seek and receive at the same time. And so that's kind of why the information isn't always instantaneous. And it may be for you. Oftentimes, when we ask the question, we begin seeking the answer instead of just being open to receiving it. And so when we let go of needing to have that answer usually pops in, because you can't have a problem without a solution. It's impossible. Wherever there's a problem, there is also a solution. We just have to be open to receiving it. And oftentimes that solution is something that we discount because we have been programmed that everything has to be hard or challenging. It can't be easy. It can't be that simple or that obvious, right? But most cases it is. I mean, look at the collective and the things that our government has done and hidden or not hidden, right? Because everything, they have to put everything in plain sight. But the more obvious they make it, the more we deny it, the more we think, oh, that's too obvious. Why would they do that? They have to do it that way because they know that you are going to discount it. And if you look back through history, it's very obvious in this way. But some other things that we are being asked to look at and reflect on during the equinox and in between eclipses, right? Because the lunar eclipse was really about shedding. It was really about letting go. It was really about surrendering. And the solar eclipse is really more of an activation. It's the planting of the new seed. It's the dawning of the new light. It's also right, coming right after the equinox. So it's really kind of like us putting our foot to the gas pedal and saying, now we know the direction we want to go in. We know who we want to be. We know what our needs are. We know what we desire. And this is the direction I'm now going to go in. This is the theme for my next year that I want to experience, that I want to invest in, that I want to explore and learn more about, right? So, what do you desire? What do you desire? Where have your desires shifted and changed? What are your needs and where are they not being met? So be honest with yourself. What are your needs financially, in your relationships, in your business or work environment, in your health? What are your needs? Be completely honest and transparent with yourself, and then see where they're not being met. And how can you fix that? How can you get those needs met? Remembering that you're not always responsible for being the one who meets the need, but you are responsible for putting yourself in the position and alignment to have those needs met, trusting and having faith that you will call in the people, places, and things to help you meet those needs, and believing that it's possible for you, believing that you are enough, believing that you are worthy of receiving that and having it all. That's something that's actually been coming up a lot for me, whether it's business or romantic relationships. I tend to say, oh, these parts are awesome, but why? But then I lack this. And it's a matter of there's a belief there that I can't have all of it, that I have to sacrifice in one area or another to have a little bit of something. And that is a belief that I am working through. And I believe it's something that the collective is too, because we are able to have it all. What that looks like may be different than our expectation, but make no mistake, we are able to have it all if we believe we are. So again, where are your needs not being met? And where do you think that you have to make sacrifices? Where do you feel like you have to let go of things because you aren't worthy or you're not enough, or there's just that programming that you can't have it all? And because Venus is retrograde in this time and Venus represents love, money, relationships, identity, there's a lot of themes coming up around this with the eclipses, with the equinox. Like this is a lot of big, big energy this month, and why it's so intense and so impactful, and why it's so important for us to harness this energy, to be able to use all of that information and any resources, mentors, books, things that you can to help you shift that. Because this year and beyond, again, it's like we've already passed the point of no return. So if you're struggling now, it's only going to pull you further under if you cannot master that understanding of surrender and letting go and moving with the flow and coming into your authentic self and accepting yourself in all of your forms, loving yourself regardless of what you're feeling, thinking, or what your reality is showcasing. These are very important themes as we're moving forward that are necessary. It's not like a choice anymore. These are necessary shifts that need to be made in your consciousness. So, because this equinox is sandwiched between two eclipses, not only does it make the eclipses more potent, it does make the equinox more potent. It makes the Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde that's also going on simultaneously more potent, because there's so much energy and so many themes that are all coming together. So this is an opportunity for deep, deep inner child healing, very deep inner child healing. The equinox also represents the balance of the masculine and feminine, or the inner mother and father. So where are you able to receive from yourself, and where are you able to give more to yourself? That's important, because the divine masculine inside of you is like that father figure. It's the one that's kind of guiding you, encouraging you to do the things that we don't always like to do, but we know are beneficial for us to do. And the feminine is that mother energy. Where can you nurture yourself? Where can you love yourself? Where can you have more compassion for yourself? So it's really understanding that those patterns and balancing those energies. And this will be bringing up resistance. It's going to bring up your fears. It's going to bring up things that are associated with the death of the old you and that old identity, especially if you are a part of the collectives that have moved into the new earth frequencies already. You'll know because you have been halted. You'll either have been super sick, super exhausted. You may be experiencing apathy. You may be experiencing feeling of disconnect or detachment. So I have done several videos discussing that, so you can go back and listen to those. But it's really important for us to hear and understand that all of these energetic aspects and points are working together always, right? Separation is always the illusion. There is no separation. All things are coexisting and commingling and working together in harmony for our highest good. So don't be surprised if you have fears and resistance coming in. Don't be surprised if you're having ego deaths or identity crises or feeling that like there's this big shift coming for you. There's a lot of doorways that are going to be opening. You know, the 0 point is like a crossroads for a lot of us. And so what crossroads are showing up for you? Where are you feeling like you need to make a shift or a change? What things are now piquing your interest that you may want to go more into? And then, of course, the throat chakra healing. You know, I've spoke about this in the March energy update. The throat chakra is the thing that's going under the most transformation this month. It is about expressing our authenticity, our authentic voice, our authentic needs. It is about expressing our truth and transparency. It is about having the hard conversations when we realize we're abandoning ourselves or we're doing things because we think it's the right thing to do, or because we think that someone will judge us or not choose us or not love us or, you know, have conflict with us. So it's really about looking at our boundaries, looking at where we're not authentically expressing ourselves and our needs, having those hard conversations, and knowing that there could be some turbulence in that. You are not responsible for how the other person takes that information. You're responsible for delivering your truth and transparency with grace and authenticity, and to honor yourself, because again, anything besides that is self-abandonment. And again, that abandonment wound is a big theme that's coming up with this equinox energy. And with the equinox, you know, this was an ancient celebration. There's monuments, ancient monuments all over the world. One of the ones that I visited was in Ohio. It was Serpent Mound. And on the equinoxes and solstices, the sun aligns perfectly with certain points of it, illuminating it. You know, Stonehenge, there's a whole bunch of other ones. They all have these little things that where it's impossible to not deny that these things were built around these celebrations to celebrate the sun. And so this is a celebration. It is a turning point. It is a dawning of the new energy. In the Northern Hemisphere, it is the birthing, the spring, the things coming out of the ground. It is us coming alive. It is us awakening. And so allow tomorrow to be a time of contemplation, a time of reflection, a time of planting seeds of the new intentions and the direction in which you want to go in, but also a celebration. Celebrate who you were. It kept you safe. It held a purpose. Celebrate who you were. Celebrate all the work that you have done. Celebrate yourself and the courage that it takes to wake up every day and play this earthly game. It's so, so important to tie in all of these aspects, because this is a pivotal point for humanity. We will come back in a week or so and discuss a little bit more about the solar eclipse in more detail. Again, I touched on all of this in the March energy update, but allow yourself to reflect on these questions that I asked, and what your needs are, and be authentic, be honest, at least with yourself, because at least then you have all the ingredients that are needed for you to step in to your most authentic self. Many blessings, and I will see you in the next video.